If you're going to grow in hydroponics and you're going to deliver your nutrient via water, there's two factors that you want to really get in check. That's your pH and your conductivity, or your parts per million, more commonly known. So we're going to take you through that today on how to calibrate your pH pen. I'm also going to show you here that in Bluelab and in another brand, Hygen, we have everything you need to do that, to calibrate, to keep everything in check, to keep it clean. So we have your probe kits, your pH, or your pH and conductivity probe kits. They come with your sachets, a few sachets of your calibrating solution, your cleaning solution, and your storage solution, as well as some probe cleaners, brushes, and different items that get you through easier, including these little cups that are very convenient. In terms of pH and conductivity in Bluelab, we have your Bluelab pen, the most important thing that you can buy. It should always be the first thing that you buy. You can also get the conductivity pen. Looks very much like this one, but it tells you your nutrient strength. And to mix it up a little bit, everyone's favorite form of conductivity pen is actually the truncheon that Bluelab produces. So this one is just a simple light up stick, fully waterproof. Really needs to be calibrated, does need to be checked. But when you dip it in, it'll simply light up and it will give you all four. It'll give you the 2 kinds of parts per million. It'll give you the conductivity factor and your electrical conductivity. I would like to note that we tend to tell people that EC, or your electrical conductivity, is the preferred method we use, because no matter where you go in the world, that's always going to be the same. But if you go to a different country and you're talking in parts per million, it could be one of 2 different kinds, and you could accidentally run the wrong strength if someone tells you. So I will take you through how to calibrate these pens properly. It's quite simple, and we often get asked how often. Well, it should be every 10 uses, every month or so. If not, then if you're going to drag it out a little bit longer, then just really keep an eye on if things are changing. So if something looks way out of whack, you may need to calibrate this. Don't go changing everything you're doing before checking whether your pen is working correctly, because they are very sensitive instruments. You need to be very gentle with them, and sometimes out of nowhere they'll give you a number that's not right. Check it first, then check everything else. So I'm going to show you how to calibrate it. Okay, so I've turned on our Bluelab pen here, our pH pen. So it's given you a simple number, if you can see it here, 6.4 at the moment. It's not sitting in anything, it's just got the cap on. You have a calibrate button here, and you have a units button. So if you want to switch to parts per million, you can. Otherwise, right now it's in EC, so it's reading 6.4 EC. And it's also giving you a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Taking the cap off, you see there's a little glass probe and a metal probe there. So they're the things that you really want to aim to keep clean. And when you get if you get a cleaning kit, a probe care kit, you'll get a little bit of probe detergent. You'll get a brush, and you'll get some storage solution. So we'll go through that in a second. But to calibrate, you always want to go your pH 7 first. A lot of people come in saying there's an error, that their pen's not calibrating. It'll come up with a little ER on the screen. That's because they've gone for 4 before they've done 7. So you want to do 7 first. So all you got to do is put enough in your container. I'm just going to sit it there. So what we want is we want it to read 7. So at the moment it's slowly leveling. You just need to wait a moment, give it a moment to get as close as it can. If it's out of calibration, it's not going to quite get there. Sometimes I like to give it a swirl. See, it's just stabilizing. So that'll do us for now anyway, 6.97. So I'm going to hold the calibration button until the screen changes. So now it says it's calibrating. It'll flash a few times. What we're doing here is we're basically forcing the pH pen to recognize that this solution is a pH of 7. So the solution pH 7 and pH 4, that's all they are. They're a solution that is exactly that pH. So when you calibrate it, you're saying this is 7. So now it says calibration 7, there's no error. It should go back to normal. So then that should read 7. Then we'll go to the 4. What I do between is just rinse it in a bit of fresh water. I just quickly rinsed it in some fresh water after doing the 7 to just get any solution off the probe so it doesn't interfere with the 4. But then you want to go to your 4 after that. It's a 2-step calibration. There are some pens on the market that'll have a single calibration, but they usually have their own solution. So we're just going to repeat exactly what we did before. I like to give it a bit of a swirl, but just letting it stabilize for a moment. You can see that it's dropping down, getting closer to 4 now, which means that this pen is already pretty accurate. So just waiting to get as close as we can to 4. Looks like 4, oh no, it went all the way to 4. Either way, same deal, hold calibrate. It's just going to go through the same process it did before. So again, no error, it's calibrated, so now it should read correctly at 4. So now it has 4 and 7, it'll be able to accurately measure between 4 and 7. Well, it'll be able to accurately measure a wide range of pH, but it's giving it 2 separate points to calibrate off of. So then again, I'll rinse that in clean water, and then after I've rinsed that in clean water, your potassium chloride solution, your probe storage solution. In the cap of the pen, there's a little sponge. Usually just put 1 or 2 drops of this in there and it'll make sure that your probe glass stays clean and sterile and doesn't change its pH very much. So with the EC pens, or we're using the truncheon here just to show you how simple it is, it doesn't necessarily need to be calibrated. Some do, some brands require you to. This is more just checking that it's reading correctly. Because these are a much simpler probe, they're not as temperamental. In the care kits, you still get a probe cleaner, so you can clean the top of this, and you get the little sort of fine brush to scrub across the top. So this actually screws off here, which is how you clean that probe there. And you can use it with or without this. This is just to stop you from bashing the top. So we're just going to put it into the 2.77 solution, and hopefully this will flash up at about 2.8, and that way we know that it's reading correctly. Doesn't need to be calibrated, just need to test that it's reading correctly. So this is some new solution, and on the EC it's jumped straight to 2.6 and it's flashing between the two. That's very common, but it's pretty much on 2.8. So that's reading correctly. I'm showing you 2.8. So that's how simple it is. With your conductivity factor and your pH in check, then there's not much else to go wrong with your plants in terms of your water unless it's just not clean enough. So with this you can tell how strong to feed your plants. You could save some nutrients. With this, it's gonna, if your pH isn't correct, your plants just aren't gonna have their nutrients available. It's very important. There's a few naysayers out there, but please, we've been doing this long enough. We know if it's not in the right spot, then you're not getting everything you need. So we do have all these things, so if you need any of it, please come and get some, talk to us, or we can even test your own in store.